I don't remember a couple of months ago actually hearing about a £50 billion black hole. And indeed, Rishi Sunak is in one of the papers today saying, I thought I left you with a 40 billion surplus. So what's happened to all that money?
Well, we do seem to have swung from one extreme to the other. So under Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng, we had a sort of well-intentioned but pretty chaotic policy of growing the economy and fixing the public finances that way. Now we seem to have swung to the other extreme of sort of competently managed decline, where suddenly people are very worried about the amount of borrowing and debt, and the only solution that people seem to have is tax increases and spending cuts. I personally don't think that's the right way to look at it. I mean, you mentioned the figure of 50 billion. I mean, who knows whether that's right? That's basically a guess on the health of the public finances in 5 years' time. There's an enormous amount of moving pieces in there. And the idea that we need to be setting policy now on the basis of a single estimate, which is highly uncertain, so far ahead, I think is just madness. It's a return to the sort of abacus economics that Liz Truss was so critical of.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that Jeremy Hunt is the man to actually get this right or not?
Well, it depends what you want to do. I mean, certainly, a Rishi Sunak, Jeremy Hunt combination is pretty good if you want to do that sort of, bean counting economics of, making sure that, all the pieces add up and you can present, a very credible policy that the financial markets will like. However, if you're looking to protect the most vulnerable in society and grow the economy and boost productivity over the longer term, I don't think that is the right approach. So we're in a funny position where what I'd like to take is the economic policies of Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng and the presentational skills, the managerial skills of Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt. I think that combination will be a lot better than what I fear we're going to have over the next few months.
Really? I mean, you're saying that you think that Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng got it right, that there were things that they wanted to do that we should be doing?
Strategy was right, but the delivery and the communication around it was terrible. So the initial priority was to support the economy.
Can I just get this right? You're saying the content was right. It was just that they didn't present it to us in the right way. And yet it caused that chaos in the markets internationally.
Okay, put it like this, 90% of the content was right. The important things that they did, the energy price guarantee and the cancellation of the tax increases, the national insurance rise and the corporation tax rise. But the remaining 10% was the thing that tipped the markets over the edge. So in particular, the unexpected announcement of additional cuts in income tax in the mini budget on the 23rd of September. And then the surprise decision or the clear mistake of Kwasi Kwarteng to double down over the weekend, when markets are already clearly very nervous about this and say that this is only the beginning. So that's the sort of thing that I mean. I think it is right to focus on supporting the economy over the winter. And something also we're not talking about anymore was the big, bold program of what are called supply side reforms. So that's sort of freeing up the economy in all sorts of ways to boost productivity and growth. That's also been shelved by Rishi Sunak. So we're going to end up with a weaker outlook for growth over the next few months than we would otherwise have had. But also I think we're potentially missing the opportunities to boost growth over the longer term, which is really the key to fixing the hole in the public finances.
Julian, you still haven't told me what you thought happened to that 40 million that Rishi Sunak felt that he'd left them to work with. We don't know where that money's gone, do we? Or was it ever there in the first place?
I don't really believe any of these numbers, to be honest. I mean, these are economic forecasts. I'm an economic forecaster myself, and I think there's a real danger that you fixate on a single number and say this is the correct number.
Yeah.
The reality is that there's all sorts of things that feed into this: growth, inflation, unemployment, the global economic backdrop, the outlook for interest rates, all sorts of things. I think it'd be far more sensible if we looked at a range of different scenarios rather than just focusing on a single number and saying this is the figure that the new Chancellor has to hit.